Welcome to Arakan Media because the truth matters. Today we have invited one of the prominent Arakan people who is based in the United States, and he is the president of AAC, the Arakan American Community, Mr. Saul Wizan. And then we will ask him about the situations of Arakan Army and what they are doing, how they are important for freedom of Arakan people, as well as the neighboring countries and for the world as a whole. Yes, sir. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. We would like to start this. Arakan Army has become one of the most influential revolutionary armed groups in Burma, also called Myanmar now. And how do you see the current situation in Arakan region?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I think it's important to understand that Arakan today is no longer just another conflict zone. Over the past few years, the situation has changed dramatically. The AA now controls large parts of the state. In many places, it's running local administration, providing public services, and maintaining order. Whether people support the Arakan Army or not, these developments are part of today's reality. If we want effective policies, we first need an accurate understanding of what's happening on the ground.
I see. So do you think the ASEAN has focused too much on Myanmar's military government while overlooking these changes?
ASEAN 5-point consensus is still an important framework, but the situation has evolved much faster than many expect.
Right.
To help bring peace and stability, it's important to understand everyone who has influence on the ground. Recognizing realities isn't the same as taking sides. It's simply good policy.
Right. So some governments are still reluctant to engage with the Arakan Army because this is a revolutionary armed group. So what's your view, sir?
I think it's important to separate engagement from endorsement. Around the world, governments have often talked with armed groups when they control territory, especially to support humanitarian work, ceasefire, or peace negotiation. Talking to people doesn't necessarily mean you agree with them. Sometimes dialogue is simply the most practical way to reduce conflict.
I see. So why is the Arakan Army important beyond Myanmar or Burma, sir?
Because Arakan is strategically important. It sits on the Bay of Bengal. It's home to major energy projects and the Chaupyu port, and it's connected to wider regional trade. So what happens in Arakan doesn't affect only Myanmar. It also matters to China, India, ASEAN, and the broader Indo-Pacific.
I see. Thanks for the answer, sir. Some analysts say the Arakan Army's rise is one of the Southeast Asia's biggest geopolitical developments in recent years. Do you agree with that?
Yes. I think that's a fair assessment. The balance of power on the ground has changed significantly. Whenever territorial control changes, governance and regional security calculation also change. Myanmar today is very different from what it was a few years, and policy should reflect today's reality rather than yesterday's assumption.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for the answers to those part of the questions. Now I would like to extend our questions into international recognition, governance, and the future of Arakan. So, sir, many people describe the Arakan Army as the de facto authority in much of Arakan region now. And what does that actually mean?
Simply put, it means the Arakan Army exercises effect control over parts of Arakan, even though it hasn't received formal international recognition. There's an important difference between controlling territory in practice and being officially recognized as a government. Those are two separate.
I see. So does having that de facto control eventually lead to international recognitions?
Not necessarily. Recognition is ultimately a political decision made by sovereign state. Effective governance may influence how other countries engagement with an actor.
Right.
But many other factors also matter, including international law, regional stability, humanitarian concerns, and each country's foreign policy.
I see. Right, sir. So, what do governments usually expect from any authority that administers a territory?
Generally speaking, we want to see stability, protection of civilians, respect for international humanitarian law, transparency, accountability, and genuine commitment to peaceful dialogue.
I see. Right. So,
Standard in conflict situation around the world.
right. So, you often mention inclusive governance. So, why is that so important?
Because lasting peace isn't just about ending fight. People need situations they can trust. That means protecting the rights of all communities, ensuring equal access to just respecting different cultures and religions, and giving everyone a meaningful voice public life. When people feel included, the changes for long-term peace are much stronger.
Right. So, thanks for the answer. Then, some critics argue that engaging with de facto authorities could legitimize armed conflict. So, how would you respond to that?
I understand that concern, but in many conflicts around the world, governments and humanitarian organizations have worked with de facto authority simply because they needed to
Right.
deliver, protect civilians, or support peace efforts. The kind of engagement doesn't automatically mean political recognition. Often, it's just the most practical way to help people on the ground.
Right. So then, finally, I have this question. That what message do you like to share with ASEAN and the international community?
Myanmar has changed significantly over the past. If we want lasting peace, we need policies that reflect today's reality rather than yesterday's assumption.
Right.
ASEAN and the international community will continue supporting humanitarian assistance, encourage inclusive political dialogue, and work with all stakeholders toward a peaceful future that benefits every community.
Right. Thank you for the answers. And then I'd like to continue with these geopolitics, regional security, and the rise of Arakan Army. So, Professor, why has the situation in Arakan become such an important geopolitical issue?
Arakan's location is the big reason why. It sits on the Bay of Bengal, close to major international shipping routes that connect South Asia and Southeast Asia. Because of that, what happens in Arakan has implications not only for Myanmar, but also for regional trade, energy security, and maritime stability.
I see. So, yes, how does China fit into this picture?
China has significant economic interest in Arakan, including oil and gas pipelines and the Chowkyu port. Like a country with major investment, China wants stability. Stable conditions help protect infrastructure, encourage trade, and support long-term economic cooperation.
I see. So then, what about India?
India also has important interest in it values border security, safe maritime routes, regional connectivity, and stronger economic cooperation across the Bay of Bengal. Peaceful and stable Arakan would benefit both Myanmar and India's broader regional interests.
I see. So then, what role should ASEAN play as the situation continues to evolve?
ASEAN has always placed a strong emphasis on peace and regional stability. As conditions change, I think ASEAN should continue encouraging dialogue, supporting humanitarian efforts, and promoting peaceful political solutions that reflect reality on the ground.
I see. So then, how do you think the United States and other international partners are likely to approach this situation?
Many international partners are focused on protecting civilians, supporting humanitarian assistance, encouraging inclusive governance, and promoting long-term regional stability.
Right.
Going forward, I think they will continue trying to balance those principles with the reality on the ground in support of a peaceful political solution.
I see. So yeah, then yes, some analysts say that Myanmar has become an arena for competition among major powers in the war. Do you agree with that?
Myanmar's location naturally attracts the attention of regional and global power. But at the end of the day, the focus should remain on the people of
I see.
political dialogue, cooperation, and peace should take priority over geopolitical competition.
I think that's a very interesting point you just mentioned. Yes, and finally, what message you would like to leave with international policymakers, sir?
Myanmar is changing quick and policy need peace with those changes. The best way forward is support humanitarian as encourage inclusive political dialogue and work toward peaceful solutions that can bring lasting stability, not only for Myanmar, but for the wider region as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for this part two. And then I would like to continue to the humanitarian protection, inclusive governance, and lasting peace. So in that matters, like beyond the military situation, what do you think should be the international community's top priority?
For me, the answer is very clear: protecting civilians, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Right.
People deserve to live in safety and have access to healthcare, education, food, and humanitarian assistance.
Indeed.
Those needs should always come first, even in times of conflict.
So you often talk about inclusive governance. What does that look like in practice?
It means making sure every community treated equally and has a genuine opportunity to participate in public life. It also means having transparent institutions, accountability, equal access to justice, and respect for different cultures and religion. When people feel they are treated fairly and their voices matter, it's much easier to build trust and create lasting.
Thank you, sir. Then how important is accountability in the future political settlement?
I think it's essential. Communities that have suffered during conflict deserve truth, justice, and confidence that same mistake won't happen again. Strong institutions and the rule of the law are important because they help rebuild trust and support reconciliation.
I see. So then can military success alone solve this Myanmar-Burma political crisis?
History suggests that it can. Military developments may change the situation on the ground, but lasting peace requires much more than that. It requires political dialogue, effective governance, economic recovery, reconciliation, and institutions that serve all people.
Understood. Yes. So what role can the international community play while respecting the Burma-Myanmar sovereignty?
There are many constructive ways to help. International partners can support humanitarian assistance, encourage dialogue, share technical expertise, and assist with post-conflict recovery when appropriate. The goal should always be to support peace, stability, and inclusive development while respecting the dignity of the people of Myanmar or Burma.
Indeed. So finally, what message would you leave with the regional leaders and the international community?
Myanmar's future won't be decided only by what happens on the battlefield. It will also depend on the quality of governance, the strength of institutions, and the willingness of all stakeholders to work toward peaceful political solutions. If we continue to prioritize dialogue, humanitarian cooperation, and inclusive governance, I believe a more peaceful and stable future is possible for everyone.
Thank you very much for all the answers. Your answers are quite insightful, and it helps understanding the status and situations in Arakan and in Myanmar more for the people. And now that I'd like to extend our interview into closing remarks as like a vision for peace, stability, and regional cooperation. So yes, before we wrap up, what message would you like to share to ASEAN leaders again?
Myanmar is going through a period of profound change. I hope ASEAN will continue to encourage dialogue, support humanitarian efforts, and promote a peaceful and inclusive political process that reflects today's reality. Regional cooperation will remain essential for long-term peace and stability.
Yes, and then what would you like to say to the United Nations and the broader international community?
The people of Burma or Myanmar have endured years of conflict and hardship. They deserve peace, security, and the opportunity to rebuild their life.
I see. Right.
The international community will continue supporting humanitarian assistance, respect for international humanitarian law, inclusive political dialogue, and long-term recovery. Peace is strongest when it's built on trust, accountability, and respect for human dignity.
Indeed. So, looking ahead, where do you hope people of Arakan and Myanmar will be in 10 years from now?
I hope to see a peaceful and stable Myanmar where every community can live with dignity, security, and equal opportunity. I also hope Arakan becomes a place that connects the region through trade, education, investment, and cultural exchange, a place that contributes to peace and shared prosperity for everyone.
Yes, and then what do you think is the biggest lessons the international community should take from this Arakan and Myanmar's experience?
One important lesson is that conflict evolves and our understanding must evolve with them. Good policy starts with understanding realities on the ground. At the same time, humanitarian principle, inclusive governance, and peaceful political dialogue should always guide our decisions.
Thank you, sir. So, finally, sir, if you could leave our audience with one message, what would it be?
My message is simple. Myanmar future should be shaped through dialogue rather than division, cooperation rather than confrontation, and hope rather than fear. If all stakeholders work together with mutual respect and a shared commitment, I believe Myanmar can build a future that is more stable, more inclusive, and more prosperous for every community.
Right. So,
for having me, Myanmar's challenges are complex and there are no easy solutions. But I believe lasting is possible if we continue to support dialogue, humanitarian cooperation, respect for international law, and inclusive governance.
I see.
The future of Myanmar should be built not by conflict alone, but by the collective efforts of its people, together with constructive support from regional and international partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, sir. Thank you very much for coming to our studio and having with us all these answers. We hope the audience will learn quite insight answer from you about these Arakan status and the Myanmar situation now. And thank you everybody for watching us too. And then this is Arakan Media, because the truth matters. And I am Thane Tuan Zan. We'll see you again.